What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Good evening. It is the last day of January, which means that February is upon us, which no, doesn't mean Valentine's Day. Even better. The best day of the year for football lovers. The most romantic, libistical evening of the night of the year. The Super Bowl is upon us. In 2 weeks, we are down to two teams. And those two teams are the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Blue and Gold Express Rams, led by Matt Stafford. Shout out to the city of Detroit. They got Eminem and Matt Stafford going to the Super Bowl. Germ So True, how you feeling, baby?
Y'all know what this is. Y'all know the vibes, man. We just gonna go ahead, give you all these views real quick. Go ahead and go about the night. We got 2 weeks of interest in preparation for this. I'll say this. I didn't want this Super Bowl, but I'm here for it. I guess. Go ahead.
Vic?
Shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals for making an appearance here. Super Bowl Sunday. And then we got the LA Rams. At the end of the day, they deserve where they at, Jerm. They deserve a lot of the players there deserve where they at. We were kind of low on the Matt Stafford acquisition and the amount of draft picks that the Rams threw and the Lions' way. But they definitely proved us wrong. Listen, Matt was fantastic this playoff run. Shout out to them. Shout out to them for that, man. I can't wait for this game because at the end of the day, it's gonna be fun. Mosef?
Let's do it. So let's get into it. Obviously, we have like we said, the Los Angeles Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Ironically, even though the Rams are technically the host city, they are actually considered the road team in this game. Not that that matters, but whatever. Let's start with last night's game. I know, Jern. Don't ask me. The Bengals are going to be in the Chargers locker room. So take that for what you want. Let's start with last night's game. The San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. Fellas, this game was pretty much what we expected it to be.
Hold on. We may have a blue and gold expressor.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
We may have a blue and gold expressor.
I smell heel activity.
Let's see what's going to happen here. So, let's start at the top. We're gonna start with the blue,
Yeah. Well, we can
let's start. Let's do the games in order.
We already started where we started.
But that's the beauty of being where we are, bro. We can always change what we want to do when we want to do it.
All right, I'm gonna just assume that that's for a reason. So let's start with the top, where the quarterback superstars, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes. Oh, here we go. See. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have somebody interrupting. Not that he's interrupting, but we do have somebody joining us. So, Jeremy, I think we just go back to the 49ers and Rams.
Whatever.
The Rams.
No, don't let me interrupt the order of events. Start where you was at. Let's go.
I just want to make sure we get the people what they tuned in for. That's all, Ronnie.
That's all right.
All right. Let's go back to let's start with the quarterbacks. This show is all over the place. Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, hopefully the first of many matchups. Bengals ended up winning that game 27-24. Game went into overtime. They called heads. Chiefs won the coin toss. Pat threw an interception. Pat threw almost 2 interceptions in one drive, even though that's not possible. And then Joe Burrow capitalized. I think we can start in a lot of places. certainly the resiliency of the football team, certainly the leadership of the young quarterback. We could go criticism on Andy Reid, criticism on Eric Bieniemy. Certainly, to me, the most credit goes to Joe Burrow, and the biggest blame goes to Pat Mahomes because we are consistent. So, Vic, I'm gonna let you kick us off here tonight. Give me your perspective on what we saw yesterday in really a 60-minute well-fought football game. Matter of fact, 60+ minutes.
I mean, I got a lot of notes. Germ and I also were going over some things before we went live. You know, some of the criticism that I've had for Pat kind of shows up here and there. You know, especially, you know, some of the criticism I've had since college for him, just to be clear about that. This is not brand new stuff. This is not just picking and choosing somebody that I want to criticize. This is some of the things that, you know, I see a guy elevated to a certain level. I want to kind of balance those things out, you know, just to be objective and fair to the sport. You know, some of the issues that I saw in the pocket, which he's had a lot of pocket time this year, especially with the addition, you know, the new additions that they had this offseason. He had a lot more time in the pocket. You know, there was no reason for him to get out of the pocket, and he knew that. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league last year in terms of pocket grades. And this year there was a stretch, Ronnie, where he was impressive in the pocket. I think there was like a 7-game stretch, you know, where in the pocket he looked impressive. And then to start this game in the first half, he was looking good in the pocket. But there's something flipped in the second half. So that goes to show me that either he was getting a little too cocky, or maybe the Bengals are making adjustments. The Bengals coaching staff is probably something serious that we need to start talking about, because they must have did some adjustments defensively, coverage-wise, that was confusing the Chiefs, confusing Pat, because some of the throws he was kind of throwing in you know, in some double teams and stuff like that, and then also the sacks that he took on third downs, just kind of were something that, you know, in a big game like that you just can't do. You know, Germ and I, again, we also talked about the West Coast offense and kind of how they prefer to pass over run. We were calculating some of the running plays and how they went down. They had 67 yards in the second half, Mo, out of the 139, which means they had 72 in the first half. Okay, they had a 21-3 lead and only had 67 yards in the second half. Out of those 67 yards, 33 were on the last drive of the game before he took the 2 sacks to score a field goal. So you got a little bit of blame for Pat in his game, but Andy Reid and this West Coast offense and kind of what they do, you know, even though, again, shout out to Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in the league, one of the best offensive minds. He has designed the West Coast to a more modern time. That the part of just not running the ball, especially when you have that extensive of a lead, is just mind-boggling for me, especially if you're averaging 5.8 yards a carry, according to the numbers and stuff like that. So that's 24 carries for 139 yards. That's almost 6 yards a carry. So, I mean, you know, when do you start enforcing that dominance that you clearly had to protect your lead and kind of, you know, save your quarterback from any being exposed? You know, I don't know. Those are things that I have always questions with these professional coaches.
Yeah, I mean, look, Andy, obviously he's got a stellar career. It's a Hall of Fame career. He's one of the best coaches, I think, to coach, certainly in the modern era. But he hasn't been void of criticism throughout his career. I think he earned a cushion after he finally got that monkey off his back when they won that Super Bowl ring.
Right.
But, you know, yesterday was really some old habits in terms of just not being able to close the game out, in terms of just not staying the course, in terms of just not fully executing for 60 minutes. And Germ, 60 minutes is something we talk about a lot. It's very weird to say that a team that did win a Super Bowl with this caliber of a quarterback is not a 60-minute football team. But as we've highlighted, and certainly you mentioned it yesterday on the pregame show, they're not a 60-minute football team. Your thoughts?
The Kansas City Chiefs are in a situation where let's talk about this objectively, because again, I want to give you insight that's real. Like I want to give real raw insight here. The insight that I want to put upon y'all today is about pace. In a 60-minute football game, a team that's able to score at this pace, you get the historic playoff run when they won the Super Bowl. You talk about averaging 40, 50 points a game, and you have to have possessions where you don't score because the other team is going to get paid, or you're going to have possessions where you do score. However it happens, this Kansas City Chiefs team in that playoff game against the Houston Texans went a quarter without scoring and then proceeded to score on the next 8 possessions in 4 minutes or less. Now, that's how you get beat. That's how you get obliterated. But then if you look at that, 4 minutes or less, what does that really mean? That means that you're scoring because you're getting a lot of big plays and you're hitting on all cylinders. Everything is working for you. So when we make the game longer, when we extend and we make people play within the confines of, hey, this 20-20, and then in this 20, you have to make better plays. You have to, the windows are tighter here. I don't have to worry about Tyreek getting by me here because now the throw has to be more perfect. Now everything has to change. If you look at the pace of the game, they started off on, they scored, I believe it was 21 points in 18 minutes. Yeah. 21 points in 18 to 21 minutes. Like, that means every 7 minutes you're scoring. Now, mind you, that may not be on the same pace, but that pace is damn near impossible to keep with that type of speed, with those type of athletes for 60 minutes. And it just is what it is. That's like, big shot, taking it to basketball. That's like getting a fast break on every possession.
Right.
At some point, coach, give me a timeout. Like, coach, I need some time to be able to regroup. So that's the reason why we're getting what we're getting with that situation being the way that it is. Now, Pat, he's in a bad spot for one reason. Because Pat is still learning coverage. He's still learning disguise. So I think what happens is Andy has to do a better job of protecting Pat from Pat.
Yes.
How do we protect Pat from Pat? By running the ball, Bert. But we got a West Coast system that says it's 60-40 or 65-35. And that's what we got. We got 40 runs opposed to 25 passes. If that's not 60-35, 35-65, or 60-40, I don't know what else is. But so if you look at it from that perspective, you've already put yourself in a situation. Now, mind you, I know it's 1 under, but I'm saying the 15, that 15 range is about where the percentage would be about 40% and where the other one would be about 60%. Yeah, I'm a mathematician. But anyway, the point is this team, they score so fast and they put so much pressure on the defense that sometimes they might psych themselves out. And sometimes they may be tired themselves, which is why you get a run, which is why you had in the fourth quarter, maybe they were running the ball because maybe Cheetah Bow and them were tired.
And the model is the West Coast model supposedly is score, pass to score, right? Run to win. Well, you passed and you scored. You had 21. You had a 21-3 lead, but you didn't run to win the game. So what exactly like for them to have 67 yards in the second half and 33 of them on the last drive in which they had 6 drives, okay, in the second half. I mean, what? So now, like you said, was it because everybody got tired? So all of a sudden you want to hand it off? Like, what are we doing?
4 possessions in the first half, and the 4 possessions was the 4th possession as we get Ronnie in, where they didn't score and get points. So that 4th possession was the one they didn't get points, and then they didn't score again until the very last possession. And then after that, they come out in overtime, and then they do 3 straight passes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they didn't even attempt to establish any sort of rhythm, any sort of pace. They just felt like they could go out there and be a little lackluster.
Mhm.
And they also had some football situations where you might say, hey, that's a little immature of you, Pat. Give us your thoughts yesterday on that game, Big Shot.
I thought the biggest the end of the game management and the end of the half management with the game.
Yep, 100%.
I think where you get you got 9 seconds and you're gonna take 2 shots at it. I'm not mad at the 2 shots.
I agree.
But they got to be to the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think sometimes with Andy Reid, he gets it's too cute.
Yeah.
And to me, in that situation, 2 shots to the end zone. You got Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league, 6'5", 260. You know, you could spread him out and just say, look, we're going to throw this slant to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Or we're going to throw this back shoulder fade to you. Either you catch it or the ball hits the ground, kick the field goal.
Right.
Now we don't have like the film yet available to see the coverages, but they used a sift. What basically when you hike the ball, they had Tyreek Hill come, from the opposite side, kind of like it's a motion, but obviously after the snap, and he ran on the flat, and it looks like Pat is looking for somebody in the end zone, but then he quickly he turns his body and throws it at Tyreek, and by then it looked like there was 2 guys on him. So. The coverages must have been confusing Pat, or they just, Andy just did not scheme something good enough for those possessions, in the red zone or close to the goal line.
Sure. Good, Big Shot.
It was weird. But then to the flip side, young fellas showed a lot of maturity.
Facts.
Showed a lot of maturity because when that game was 21-3, that could have gotten out of control.
Yes.
Really quick. And they made a couple of stops. And you just kind of keep the game manageable. You keep the game within reach. And credit to the Bengals. Because nobody else talk about, what the other team did wrong. But the Bengals, I think the maturity, they hung in there. And Kansas City just left that door open just a little bit too wide. And the next thing you know, it's the baby goat, as y'all call him. It's baby goat time, and here we are. Here we are.
Yeah, no, I just thing here too, Vic, real quick. You made a point too about the pocket, right? In between the 20s, he was in the pocket. When he got inside the 20, they scored 2 times where he rolled out of the pocket.
Yes, the throw to Tyreek.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Only Tyreek because that's his elite level.
That over.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody running with Tyreek fast ass over for 5 seconds.
No.
You don't want to run with him for 2.
Talking about covering 40, 50 yards when he's cutting across the field like that.
Bro,
he's mentioned he's developed his route running, he's developed head movements, the nuances of the thing. I mean,
that's bad for business. In my Stephanie McMahon voice, that is terrible for business. So you talking about rolling out, and that's what he made again. I listen, man. We made the video. The man is drifting to the right and throwing like he's a shortstop, and that's a touchdown. Then we get the play where he goes around, bring it around town, and all this other stuff, and then they throw another touchdown. And that one is to Travis Kelce when they do the little shoulder shimmy.
Yep.
See, y'all gotta understand, he's not a pocket quarterback still. He's still not a pocket guy, which that is going to be something that he has to do in key situations. But if you notice, Hendrickson, Hubbard, and all of those guys in the middle, BJ Hill, they kept him funneled inside.
Yeah,
that's the idea, is to keep him in the pocket and make him beat you from there. You know what I mean? So again, you want to elevate him to this certain level, but fundamentally, the pocket is where you're supposed to make your money. Professional level.
Let's focus the conversation on this for a second. Real quick, shout out to everybody in the comment section. Some breaking news. Jim Harbaugh being flown out by the Vikings Wednesday. Interview happening. He got flown out.
He got flew out.
It's stock trip season. Listen, to your point, Vic, I want to focus the conversation on this for a second. You talk about the pocket presence. You talk about the status of Mahomes. There's no denying Mahomes is that dude, right? But there was a conversation floating around these internet streets, and apparently some people said that they would take Joe Burrow over Pat Mahomes. That seemed to be taken. I saw on Twitter some people going crazy about it. The factual statement, in my humble opinion, and the reason I say this is factual is because it is backed up by logistical records and data that we can provide at unlimited coverage. Joe Burrow is further in his development than Pat Mahomes. Now, again, it's not to say Pat ain't that dude. It's not to say Pat is not physically gifted. It's not to say he is not intellectually at the level of an elite quarterback. It's not to say none of that. But that play you talked about, Jerm, where he kind of went boom, boom, spun around, crossover, flick of the wrist. Okay, that's very nice, right? But we know the 44-year-old would have taken 1-2 steps up, 1 step to the right, tossed it off, boom. We know Joe Burrow would have stepped up, fired it in there. So I think we have to really understand what the difference in that game was. And is that Joe was just, he was an assassin yesterday. His ball placement, elite. His fundamentals in the pocket, elite. His patience through his progression, elite. His understanding of the coverage pre and post snap, elite.
But then what happened when he had to get out of the pocket?
Who?
With Joe, what happened when he had to run out of the pocket and make a play? Elite. Like he knows when to do it.
Oh,
and he got some first downs. So
no doubt. And I think that's where I want to focus my conversation on is forget the progress, the official arrival of Joe Burrow. Like, he's here. And he may very well go out and take it in 2 weeks, no matter what Aaron Donald plans on doing. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about it. He's been high on our board. We were all high on him. We've been praising him since day one. Jerm, I'll start with you on this. We're not surprised, but just how impressed with you with Joe Burrow yesterday?
I'm not even impressed no more, bro. That's a stud.
Well, he ain't on that level just yet. I'm not even impressed.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not even impressed anymore. Now I'm starting to get to the point where I'm just like, now it's an expectation for him to go out and perform. Because he shows the consistency. Again, what every year I say it: consistency, decision making, accuracy. Those three keys translate to every level of quarterback. If you got those three things, you got a chance to make a good amount of money on Sundays. Period, point blank, and you will dominate on Saturdays. And Joe dominated on Saturdays, and he's getting ready to dominate again on Sundays. At the end of the day, he does all three at an elite level. But the one thing that you can never, ever do with Joe is you can never gauge where he is in the game mentally. Bro, the man got sacked 9 times the week before. Man, he got shot like 9 times, bro. Like 9 times he got shot. And the man still, like, he took the bullets and put it in a blender, poured Cristal in the blender, made a protein shake. I'm just saying, like, the man, and then when it mattered most, he said, "Hey, y'all, come on. Just come on. I'm going to get y'all. Come on." And it's just, bro, I just expected, bro. He's done this. He did the same thing at LSU, man.
Yeah.
Last year at LSU, he did the same thing.
Right.
So you're talking about a dude who is getting ready, okay? In one and done situations. We're talking this man is in a position now to be undefeated in his first playoff run, and it started on the road. Did it start at home? It started at home because they had a home game. But, bro, we're talking 3 road games in order for you to get the ultimate prize in professional football. If he goes and he takes this game, bro, not only is he way ahead of schedule, Cincinnati is so far ahead of schedule right now.
Yeah.
That it's like, yo.
Well, here's the thing, though.
If this dude is your quarterback, he's done it without the best offensive line, without the best beef, period, because the defensive line needs a little, they need a little
facts.
and the secondary and linebackers could use help. This is what we talk about when we say $100 million player, the $200 million man in this NFL can mask flaws.
Yes.
Joe has masked a major flaw, which is the beef. The beef. I gotta say like more. The beef.
The beef.
Hey. And let's make something real. Like at the end of the day, this is a 25-year-old player already. You know what I mean? Like he is the same age as Pat. You know what I mean? So like this, like whether he has 2 years in comparison to Pat's 4 years or whatever it is now, like they're the same age and they've been quarterbacking for almost about the same amount of time.
True.
And I said it, and I said it, and that LSU run, because we saw watching the film after. I said, this kid is better than 15 quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Yes, you did.
At LSU before he even got drafted. So, I
mean, again,
for us to be surprised is kind of.
I think as much.
Got no reason to be.
As much debate,
yeah.
And I don't even want to say debate. As much conversation as we've had about quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks coming out of college. I think when we were watching Joe, we kind of all had to try to keep each other grounded because we were just so impressed with what we were watching from a college quarterback.
I didn't believe it was real, Mo. Remember, at first, I didn't believe it was real. I was like, no, this ain't real.
We have said a lot of things. I remember when Vic said this dude is better than 15 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I'm like, yo, that's kind of rude, but that's true. And I think, again, yesterday, like, not to gush too much over him, Big Shot, but I just think for a second-year quarterback, really his first full year as a starter, because that rookie year was just cut short, with a team not experienced in coaching, not great on the offensive line, overall not great anywhere really outside of him and obviously Jamar. Just, I don't know, man. It's I don't remember being more impressed with a young quarterback than I have with Joe Burrow on this playoff run, Big Shot.
You know who what it reminds me of? Because if you look at his, stats obviously don't mean everything.
Right.
But it's not like he's not throwing the ball 50 times a game, 405 yards, etc. But what he reminds me of, though, he reminds me of Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman would go 20 for 30 for 240 and 2 touchdowns. But it's the most impactful 20 for 30 for 240
it means
you'll
something.
ever see.
Yeah.
And that's what Joe Burrow does. Like, he is not throwing the ball all over the yard, but every clutch throw, smart decision, when the play needs to be made, he makes it.
Yes.
And I think the Bengals, because of the suspect offensive line, I think over the course of the year have done better with running the ball to kind of mitigate some of the pass rush, which is what they did yesterday. You don't have to necessarily break off 8-9 yards of carry, but you have to at least keep the pass rush at bay to give young fella a little bit of time.
Yes.
And when you give him a little bit of time, he makes the play that needs to be made. But as a young player, no matter what happens in 2 weeks, as Jerm talked about it, he's so far ahead.
Right.
At this point.
They're on borrowed time.
But
in terms of the team, they're on borrowed time.
Yeah,
so win or lose, like this has been a tremendous ride.
What they say you playing with house money?
Yeah.
They playing with as much house money as anybody ever. Like, whatever happens in 2 weeks or whatever happens. But
because like realistically, the championship window hasn't even opened yet. But they going in there with a crowbar, Ocean's 11 style, and say, "Hey, we coming in this MFR."
That's scary as shit.
What is the truth,
bro? This is a heist. This is a heist.
Yeah.
No, they stole the AFC this year. They stole it.
Oh,
yes,
like this is this is next Friday after next. It's a rolling NASA stole it. That's what this is. Like, I don't know how do you gauge what their championship window even looks like when they get older. Like they're babies. They don't know what that they don't know that they don't know. It's like Joe. Listen, Joe is like Coach Boone right now. He like at 18 years old, I had to take care of 18 brothers and sisters.
You had 18 brothers and sisters? 10.
Yeah. 18 sounds better. Like,
Nah,
that's
real quick.
like, that's where we
Real
at
quick.
with the situation though. Like, dude is literally on another. Like, he's that good, man. And listen, that's not saying Pat is not good. That's not saying these other quarterbacks are not good. Because what people try to do is they try to steer the narrative. So I'm gonna kill it now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill it. Here's the roach spray.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know. Joe Burrow is just further along mentally at the quarterback position than the rest of these kids. And the only ones that are mentally where he is are guys like Deshaun. And we see it, but Deshaun didn't play. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure if Deshaun goes to the right team, what we're going to be talking about next year? Hey, we got another one. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. Quick. Man. I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah.
I'm here for the game again. I didn't like this matchup necessarily because I'm worried about Joe ending up on a damn stretcher.
Yeah.
But he ain't, listen, it is what it is, man.
No, my question is, what time does the moving van pull up and the three of you all jump in the moving van and just go ahead to Southern Ohio / Northern Kentucky, and we just stop playing around? Because clearly, with it's rewarded, is much necessary, and it's well earned that y'all just go ahead and sign the free agent contract for the Bengals, and let's just call it a day.
I mean, listen, I like I said, I've been saying the kid was going to be special since that LSU season. I told Josh, I don't know where he at right now. I'm disappointed he's not even in the comments, which means he's not watching.
He's around.
You know,
he with nephew Mason.
Mason. This is Mason's birthday.
Nephew.
So shout out to Mason.
Now, here's the thing, Steve. Go ahead, Vic. Go ahead.
No, I remember telling him, like, bro, y'all got yourself a good player, and I'm excited for the season just as much as I was excited for the Browns. So I'm gonna jump on the AFC North bandwagon when it comes to those Ohio teams. Right. I'll say that.
I mean, to your point, Big Shot, my high school alumni was Tigers, so it's like there's a connection there. I know, Jeremy. I know. I can't help myself.
Jeremy. Like, this is crazy.
Yo, so let's move on to the next game. Big Shot. Again, I'd like to think of myself as co-architect, but nonetheless, you are the lead engineer on this project.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Rams.
Let me sit back here a little bit.
In a slugfest. Don't sit back, Vic. This spot, because these rounds is for you. The Los Angeles Rams.
You know what?
Going to the Super Bowl.
Listen, we had our fun, a private conversation. Y'all are my brothers, so I will never do to embarrass people, my brothers in public. So that's I don't roll like that. We have our fun.
I know.
I don't roll like that.
But Big Shot, you did call this. Like all jokes aside.
Yeah.
You made the post September 2021.
Seats.
Full disclosure. And you picked the Rams. And they've risked it all. Shout out to the motto. They've risked it all.
Yeah.
They're about to go, I think, 7 or 8 years without a first-round draft pick. Their last first-round draft pick being Jared Goff. But hey, in 2 weeks, Big Shot, none of that matters.
None of that matters.
Because they're here.
At this stage, there's no. Go ahead, Big Shot. Go ahead.
I think what makes the matchup is you have Cincinnati, who's like
way ahead of schedule,
kind of quickly with the draft has drafted smart free agents. The flip side is FC Hollywood, who just said, "The hell with the draft."
Yeah.
We are LA. We are the big market. Here it is. And what I love about this, and I know we're so anti-narrative on the scene, right?
Facts.
And I
The
like
false
seeing
ones.
guys. I like seeing guys break false narratives.
Facts.
And watching Matthew Stafford the last 3 weeks, a guy who, when you get that Detroit organization funk on you, it's hard to shake. It's hard to shake it. But some of the throws that he made yesterday, again, they scored 20 points. So again, it's not like it was 45 points, 20 points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But as Germs talked about, as Mo has talked about, and Vic has talked about for the last 3 years since I've been with y'all, ball placement. Do you make the throw when it needs to be made?
Yeah.
The touch, the lab throw of the week, the touchdown to Cooper Kupp, the first one, the 11-yard to the corner, where he basically splits the safety in the corner, throws it on a dime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
And that's like with that pass, it's kind of fundamental. Some you'll see in every playbook where you have a corner route and then you have somebody in the flat. So it breaks down that coverage to bracket coverage where the corner now has to decide if you're gonna pass it a flat or get that corner route. But his slight shoulder fake to that flat and then to get it up there. Because one thing about Matt, I give him credit for, he does like to play around a little bit with those no-look passes and those fake shoulders and stuff like that you'll see on film. So he kind of gave him what looked like a fake shoulder to the flat and threw it to that corner accurately. Okay, but because that's been my criticism, like you said, of him, his accuracy, the ball placement, some of the sidearm throws and stuff like that. But on this playoff run, credit to him, he has been almost perfect, almost perfect, aside from 1 or 2. At this point, Ron, it's like saying now, not picking and choosing these 1 or 2 throws he could have been better. He's gotten up to that level where you say, all right, now that it's okay. Let's move on to the next play. You know what I mean?
Right.
You made that bad throw now because he's earned that now with me, especially on this playoff run, because to me, high pressure situations, making the right decisions and throwing accurately is for me is what a quarterback needs to do, and he did. He checked all the boxes with that. So that throw right there, that play right there, and then the last one against Tampa Bay. I mean, there's nothing else to say but to say, like, this dude, he really was better than I thought. He really was better than I thought, for sure.
Well, again, like when they made that trade and we went live, what was it, a year ago, Big Shot?
It was
like
it was a year ago yesterday. Crazy enough.
Like we called it then. He's the most underrated quarterback in the league, but he's about to approach that. He's where he's going. He's either going to be solidified or he's going to be called overrated. And I think he solidified himself. I think he's had a very solid year. I think he's had his ups and downs, which is natural. New offense, new team, new weapons. Then you all of a sudden you plug in Odell Beckham Jr. and well, shout out to Odell. He's been very
great game yesterday.
Bro, he like you cannot deny the contributions he's made to this football team. And yesterday he was phenomenal. He made some great catches. Like, forget the stats. Odell made some tough championship level catches, and he got all the respect in the world from me. I think again, the one thing that I appreciate about the people who listen to us most is they know where we're coming from. And if we have been harsh critics of Odell for the past few seasons, but it's for a reason. It's because he can play and perform to that championship level where he can elevate a team to win a slugfest like that. It's not like he had 10 catches in a 34-35 shootout. He had 10 catches in a 2017 slugfest. Important downs, important catches. And I think it's a new era of football. It's no longer you can't build through this. You can't do this. It's no longer you can't do X to get Y or Z. You could do A, B, C. I'm not going to do like Lil Wayne did in that freestyle, but you could go through the whole alphabet to get whatever final ingredient you want to get. It all just depends on what your principles are. And Stan Kroenke and the GM, is it Les Snead? No,
Les Snead.
Les Snead. They have been very precise in what they want, and they're going to be aggressive, and they're going to go after certain big pieces. It's paid off, and in 2 weeks, if they finish it, none of it is going to matter because nobody is going to remember who they could have took in the 2019 NFL draft. Jeremy, your thoughts on yesterday's game between the 49ers and the Rams?
So I look at this like this as well. Me and Big Shot was talking about this with our guy Coach Les. This is kind of like one of them situations where in basketball you would rather get the transfer than getting the freshman. Why? Because the freshman comes with
I like it.
New problems, new situations, and everything else. Unless you know that this freshman class is special, unless you're getting LeBron or unless you're getting Carmelo Anthony, is it really worth getting a freshman when if you want to win a national championship or you want to win a championship, you're going to need some assortment of veteran guys anyway? So this is the approach for the Rams. Okay. Instead of us taking a player in the back end of the first round, we're going to take that player and turn him into Jalen Ramsey. Okay, instead of us doing this, we're going to take this player and we're going to turn that into Von Miller. No player you're going to get in the second or third round is going to equate what Von Miller brings to the table. So it really doesn't matter. So what you get in that situation is you brought in a senior instead of bringing in a freshman.
Yeah.
So you've done that again. So then you took Jared Goff, even though you've gotten to the Final Four, you've gotten to the championship game, but you've seen where you messed up 4 years ago. So now you fast forward now, and now you're 4 years later, but now you got another senior as your point guard.
Yeah.
And this senior gives you a better chance to win than that freshman that you had at the time. And then now you got a team full of very, very good to very, very great players in different situations, not including having your young guys who contribute the way that they can. And boom, here's what you get. So why is that applicable to this situation right now? That's exactly what the Rams have built their chemistry over the last few years. It's been push it all to the table and get as many seniors as possible, because at the end of the day, the seniors are I need experience more than I need young talent. These experienced veteran guys have talent, but I don't need them to play 100 snaps. I need them to play 60 snaps because I got other guys that can help, and we can rotate them in and help them become more like they were 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So we got seniors instead of getting freshmen. So that is the one way of looking at it, but it also depends on the city you're in. And you're in LA. The bright lights of Hollywood will always be bestowed upon you. So there's no reason for you to ever be in a situation. You take the same blueprint of the LA Lakers. The Lakers have never been big on drafting. They have always ended up, you got Kobe, Magic, and pretty much majority of the rest of them people, what were they, Big Shot? Free agents.
Free agents, trades, you name it. And I think the one thing I want to talk about when it comes to Matt Stafford in particular, right? You always hear a lot of like great athletes, and I'm sure Big Shot can talk about this. You always hear great athletes talk about mental toughness. Matt Stafford has throughout his career been one of the most resilient, tough, hard-nosed competitor in the National Football League. I mean, there's the time where he dislocated his shoulder a couple of times, stayed in the game. You know, he's like Matt Stafford is the type of dude you want, as they say, in that foxhole. And I think that throw against Tampa kind of just released a demon
Yes.
that has been trapped forever in Detroit. And it's like he's made big throws before on when we watching Scott Hansen on Red Zone for 7 hours, but when it's all eyes on you, we're going to the next step. We're getting one step closer. Like Matt Stafford is that dude as well now. And I think he deserves a ton of credit for his leadership and toughness, Big Shot.
He does. And the question we had a year ago was, now that it's going to matter. You talk about all those big throws he made in Detroit. Now it's going to really matter. And he stepped up.
Yeah.
I also was really impressed with the Rams the last 2 weeks with the toughness.
I agree.
Now I am going to refer back to y'all on this one just a little bit. No beef, no Lombardi has been a theme since I've known y'all 4 years. And the Rams had held up against two really physical offensive lines 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was 24 carries for 60 yards for the 49ers yesterday.
Yep.
I don't think the Bucks ran for that much more the week before.
Run game.
And there was another question that was, are they tough enough? Late in postseason to deal in a close game, can you stop? Can you hold up on the line of scrimmage? The last 2 weeks, they have more than held their own up front. And they put Jimmy G into some situations that you want Jimmy G to be in if you're the opposition, because they got him in 3rd and long, they got him in must-pass situations, and then you turn the pass rush loose.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, Big Shot. San Francisco was physical yesterday.
Good.
Yeah.
San Francisco was very physical yesterday, as they always are. But I think for LA, number one, their offensive line, that's some beef right there. And then you got Whitworth, that's dry-aged, prime beef ribeye. Okay.
How old is Whitworth?
Bro, 37 years old. Okay.
40,
Has
ain't
to
he?
be.
I thought he was
He's like
40.
39.
I thought he's 40, dog. Hold on.
He's 73 years old. Okay. He walked into the barbershop. I asked him, I said, how old is Andrew Whitworth? He said, Andrew Whitworth is 137 years old. Andrew Whitworth is old, bro. Like he's family barbecue
40.
in sandals old.
He just turned 40 in December.
They got Corbett in there as well. You got the center, escaping my name. You got Havenstein, Havenstein from his rookie season, which I believe was 2015, 2014, something around there. Like he has been top 5 right tackle from the day he stepped into the position. And that's no exaggeration. Now on the defensive side is where they're vulnerable most, like you talked about, Ronnie. But they got Aaron Donald. They got an absolute game wrecker. And now you add Von Miller to the mix, who made plays on his own yesterday. Like they may not have the most stout collective beef on the defensive side, but when you got that game wrecker, it makes a huge, huge difference. Vic, anything you want to add to this conversation?
No, I mean, you guys hit it right on the nail, man. I mean, that physicality that they were able to control from the 49ers yesterday was impressive. They got, again, we talked about situational sacks or situational pass rush, because first down sacks, second down sacks don't mean much if the team gets the first down, on the next couple plays, you know what I mean? But if you get sacks on situations where, there's 3rd down, to stop a drive or something like that, that's when it becomes important. And that pressure.
You know what though? I think they had 1 sack yesterday. Actually,
the thing is, they put pressure on Jimmy where he had to move, because you could see there was situations where he was looking for a pass and it wasn't there. He had to move, and then he would throw the ball, because he's gonna be that one, like you said, he's gonna be the one to throw that ball, put it in harm's way if there's pressure, and he did that on the last play. So they did get 1 sack, but I think if we look at every play, there's gonna be about 12 pressures. So that's why, like Mo says, and statistics in football is only 50% of the story. Sacks is an overrated stat.
100%.
It's
Mhm.
when you get it. It's when you get the pressure in key moments is what's a factor in these games. And like you said, for a guy like Jimmy, as much as I like him, he's very limited. And when there's pressure, he's gonna throw the ball up. You know,
Yeah.
so he had a situation anyway yesterday where do I take the sack or do I try to make a play? So he was stuck in between those two things, unfortunately for them. And that was just it right there.
Yeah. Jeremy, anything you want to contribute before we wrap this up here?
Only thing I want to say is this. At the end of the day, the Rams, this is the first time that they've won a game that another team was more physical than them.
Yeah.
Best time to do it is in January. And that's when they did it. Besides that, my biggest takeaway more than anything else from anything that happened with the Rams this weekend was they're gonna be good regardless, in spite of Matt Stafford, because of what they have on that team. But Matt Stafford can make them that much better when he plays well.
Yes.
So
100%.
I'm very interested to see this week coming up, well, not within 2 weeks. I'm interested to see they've had to play three different styles of quarterbacks. They had Kyler Murray, who strictly played outside the pocket. Then they went to Tom Brady, and Brady is a pocket guy, and Brady gave them hell more so than Jimmy, obviously. Jimmy gave them some issues and situations, of course, whatever. But now you get Tom Brady or a piece of Tom Brady with the ability to be mobile. So now the guy who's going to step up in the pocket and make some of the same throws that 12 was making, but also he's not scared to run away from Aaron Donald either.
Amen.
I want to see this matchup and how it unfolds, because I feel like it's going to be a lot of dancing.
I think it's going to be, and we're going to talk about this game plenty. I think it's going to be a rumble. I really do. I think it's going to be a rumble, and I think it's going to be a very strongly competitive football game. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. First lady in there,
Cole can
Tanya.
look like he about to be home alone.
Yeah, Ty Love in there talking about Matt Stafford and the weapons he's had over his career. Shout out to Joe Maverick. What up, Joe? April in there. What's up, April? Yes, it is 9:15, and yes, I am drinking coffee. Jay Godfather in there. Joe in there. Big Shot in there. Big Shot in two different places at once. Ty in there. KG. Shout out everybody in the comment section. Big Shot. Any closing thoughts before we wrap out of here?
So let me ask y'all this. I know we the NFL offseason ain't technically started, but we getting there, right?
Yeah, I mean,
we getting there.
Yeah.
If you're San Francisco, I'm gonna bring the private conversation to the public.
Oh my God,
no, not that, Vic. If you're Frisco, and I know Germ, I know me and Germ we did like a kind of an impromptu live beginning of the season. Germ, super high on the Frisco roster. I know y'all like the Frisco roster.
Mm-hmm.
Is this now your turn to take your chips? I don't know what the Capitol look like, Germ. You can tell me all that. And say, and I know y'all not a fan of it, but if Green 12 is to be had, if I am San Francisco, listen, if the roster is that.
Is that a whistle?
Yeah.
I can't put that roster in the hands of Trey Lance yet. If we're that close to the title.
Hey, that's you almost got a technical right there, Big Shot, because you said Trey Lance's name.
I think they need to add a 12 either way.
God, dude, I'm not.
He is from Northern California.
They're great. Let me say something. First of all, I know we make fun of him, but we make fun of him because of his TV. to be honest with you, I wish Skip would go back to writing because his articles was phenomenal. Skip Bayless tweeted, this is like during the show, if I'm John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, I am at least calling Tom Brady. Big Shot said it earlier this morning. And you know what I was saying?
Jared, what do we say every year at the NBA trade deadline? It doesn't cost you nothing to pick up the phone.
It costs you nothing. And hey, like we said, right? If Brady retires, you can see the fan coming out. If Brady retires, it's because he's not happy with the football situation. And he does not want to move his family a third time. Well, guess where is the one? The other city is LA, but we know he ain't going to LA. Guess the one city where he would not have to move his family? San Francisco, because he got a $30 million residence he only slept in once. Just wait.
Listen, whether it's Tom or A-Rod, to be honest, objectively speaking, they're both going to be a massive upgrade over Jimmy and Trey Lance. Let's put that out there. So, like you said, it doesn't cost much to pick up the phone and find out.
It sure does not. It sure does not. All right, fellas. That's it. We will reconvene. We will announce the itinerary for the course of these next 2 weeks. We're going to have some great stuff planned. We're going to have a little trivia, some cookies to give away, maybe some shirts, maybe another giveaway. You never know what's coming. But we got the Super Bowl, and we're going to make sure Views from the 22 takes out the 2021 season with a bang as we go into the 2-2 off season for the 2-2. Speaking of, take us home. True.
22. See y'all later in the week.